Welcome back to the courtroom of public opinion where words are weapons and every statistic is ammunition. Today we're diving into one of the most heated exchanges you'll ever see. On one side, a student armed with questions and accusations of bias. On the other, a political firebrand who thrives on confrontation and quick rebuttals. But here's the real question. When someone gets challenged on their credibility, do they defend their arguments with facts or just deflect with confidence? Stick with us because what starts as a compliment quickly unravels into a verbal showdown that exposes more than either side expected.
Hey, Kirk. My question is sort of a question/compliment. You're a very good public speaker. And I think a lot of people here might struggle with that. What I'm curious is somebody with so little education beyond high school and, just experience in the field, how are you able to so confidently just kind of word vomit, right? You've said pretty much every question you've answered has been no answer. You've just kind of said what conservatives want to hear. So really all of your work is not a debate. It's just confirmation bias. So
Want to have a debate?
Sorry?
You want to debate?
No, I'm good. I'm just curious where you learned.
Okay. You sure?
Where you learned how to public
I'm a high
speak.
school graduate. You're in college, man. Let's debate. I vomit for a living, you said. Yeah. Come on, let's debate.
No, I'm not here to debate. That's not,
No,
that's not my question.
You're just here to insult me.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Okay.
Where did you learn how to public speak? Because you're really good at lying out of your ass.
What have I lied about? Name one thing I lied tonight about.
The stats.
Name a second thing. No, name a stat. I said that's wrong.
You said 11 million jobs. You said 50%.
Yes, 11 million jobs are open for blue-collar work according to Mike Rowe and according to 3 independent studies according to the Department of Labor. Name another stat I said that's wrong.
I guess my main point
No,
is...
name a third stat that I said that's wrong.
When you say a stat or you just say numbers, it's helpful usually when you're public speaking to say where you got that information. Because people who disagree with you might not
so give me, no, but you give some examples. Where did I lie or say a stat that's not true?
You need to work on not doing confirmation bias.
Wait, hold on. No, but you come up here and say, oh, how did you with a high school education learn to spew BS? Say one thing I said that was wrong, misleading, unfactual, not rooted in data. One thing.
You're doing it right now.
I'm asking you a question.
I was just making a comment and you're spinning it. That's what you're really good at. That's why I think you're a good
No, you
public
came
speaker.
up here and insulted me. I'm asking you, how have I misled this audience? And you come unprepared, like not with a single data. I thought you'd at least have like one gotcha, man. Like one number, like one thing. 11 million job openings according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics that require muscular labor and require just a 6-month technical training degree. That is true. At the apex, 15,000 people coming across the southern border every single day. I even said it's down a little bit. That is true. What have I said that's incorrect?
Do next. You're good at what you do, but not for the right reasons. That's all I'm saying.
They don't want to debate me because they can't debate me. They can't say one thing I said that's wrong. They can't name one data point. They just come up here and insult. You, my friend, are why we are going to beat you guys historically, because you are afraid to have a debate. It's so amazing, the smugness. How'd you learn to speak like this in word vomit? Oh, what'd I say that's true? Everything. Name one thing. Name another thing. Name another thing. Yeah, you should ask for money back at KU. They're really scamming you, man. You'd think you'd have one little thing. All right.
I just want to start off by saying that it's always great to be politically active than to not be politically active. So I thank you for that. But I do want to start off by saying earlier I was outside protesting, as I usually do on campus, with a sign that says, "Tear the fascists down." Now, for those who don't know what fascism is, it's an ideology associated with Nazism. As I had this sign, not affiliated to anybody, I had a group of individuals come up to me saying openly they were fascists attending your event and called me the F word while at it. It's not lies. Now, I am not here to call you a fascist. I'm not. As I know you're not a Nazi sympathizer, you've never openly sympathized Nazism. I can see that. But people who openly call themselves fascists are here and are not afraid to admit they are fascists. So my question is, Will you denounce fascism today, as the definition online puts it, as an ideology including racial nationalism and authoritarianism today?
Yes. Will you denounce Marxism as the greatest killer of human beings in the last 100 years?
Well, describe Marxism to me.
I'm sorry, what?
Describe Marxism to me.
The ideology that Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Vladimir Lenin, and Pol Pot employed to the massacre over 100
It did kill
million.
millions of people. You're right. Correct.
Okay, so I'll denounce fascism, you denounce Marxism, yeah?
Well, I would have to say, like, by definition. No. Hold on. So my thing is that, was it Marxism itself, or was it a materialistic condition that caused that? Because as Marxists, what we do say is that there's material conditions that contribute to society. Now, you probably aren't familiar with dialectical materialism. I'll try to explain it real quickly.
No, I've read the Phenomenology of Spirit, and I know Hegel. But
Okay.
no, but tell me, but why not denounce Marxism? I mean, so Mao Zedong, Marxist, Lenin, Marxist, Joseph Stalin, Marxist.
I'll denounce Joseph Stalin for you, definitely, yes. Joseph Stalin was an authoritarian leader who definitely killed millions of Ukrainians during the export of grain to, of course, build up their economy.
But there's
I'll agree
nothing
with
about...
you.
All right, let's pause here. What we're witnessing is more than just a debate over ideology. It's a clash over definitions, history, and responsibility. Notice how the student keeps insisting Marxism hasn't been truly tried, while the speaker fires back with a laundry list of failed regimes, tying them directly to Marxist principles. This is a textbook example of a rhetorical tug-of-war. One side relying on theoretical purity, the other hammering real-world consequences. But here's the kicker. Both are dodging in their own way. The student won't outright condemn Marxism, and the speaker avoids acknowledging the nuance in its interpretations. Let me ask you, who do you think is playing the stronger game here? The idealist clinging to theory, or the pragmatist weaponizing history?
You don't think there's anything about the ideology that leads to the suffering, impoverishing, or the
Well,
murdering?
just like how Hitler called himself a socialist, it's not the ideology, it's just what you actually do in practice.
Yes, he did call himself a socialist,
Yeah.
but he was not a Marxist.
He was not, yeah.
But the National Socialist Workers' Party is the actual name of Nazism. But where has Marxism ever worked?
Well, I wouldn't say that Marxism itself has ever actually been tried. Now, of course, you can always say, like, oh, like, you know, that's an easy communist getaway question to it, right?
Well, but Marxism has killed a lot more people than Hitler. Everywhere it's tried, it results in famine, impoverishing, death, destruction. I mean, every failed country on the planet right now, including North Korea, is some form of a Marxist dictatorship. So why is it hard to denounce that? Because it's easier for me to denounce fascism. Why the struggle to just say, you know, Marxism, bad, evil, end of story? Why can't we agree on that?
Well, because if you look at, I'll give the example of North Korea. What we did is that we went in there during the Korean War and destroyed all their factories, right? Now, what did this leave? This left an impoverished society where they now had no means to, of course, get their needs because their factories were destroyed. So that's number one on why North Korea. Now, I don't like North Korea. I'm just saying that's one reason why.
Has nothing to do with the Marxist
No.
leader? Nothing?
He's not a Marxist leader. I wouldn't consider himself a Marxist leader.
So what ideology is his?
So the ideology of Marxism is simply that workers own the means of production. The workers in North Korea do not own the means of production.
Would they have private property rights in North Korea?
They don't.
Then who owns the means of production?
The government does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but in a Marxist society, no, but in a Marxist
And
society,
that would be Marxism?
No, it's not, because the workers own the means of production, not the government.
But who is the government?
The government is the people, the bureaucrats.
Oh,
the bureaucrats
so
who
wait.
control the power.
Okay, and that would be the people, the bureaucrats owning the means of production, otherwise known as Marxism?
No. You're getting it all wrong. Literally, the word definition of Marxism is that workers own the means of production.
Right. So where has that ever been tried or worked? You say it's never been tried ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, got it. So even though the hammer and sickle and core Marxist ideology has been invoked repeatedly by these leaders, you're saying, no, not a Marxist. No, not a Marxist. No, not a Marxist. Over 100 times it has been tried on every single continent, from Mugabe in Rhodesia, which became Zimbabwe, to parts of India, to China, to Korea, to parts of Eastern Europe, to Central and South America, to Venezuela. None of that is Marxist, even though they say they're Marxist.
Well, it's tampering with Marxism because you have sanctions and you bomb their countries. So, I mean, if you want to call that Marxism, then if you sanction and bomb them, I guess that's Marxism.
Wait, so how have we sanctioned and bombed these like Venezuela?
Like Venezuela has sanctions to where we don't buy their oil anymore.
Yeah, why do you think we're sanctioning them?
Because they have Marxist ideologies that don't incorporate with capitalist ideology.
Well, yeah, they're also like a quasi-terror state. But let's talk about Venezuela. Venezuela used to be rich and prosperous when they had the private ownership of minerals. Why is Venezuela now one of the poorest countries in South America? What ideology caused that?
See, but that's the thing, though. It's not the ideology, it's the practice. Now, you could say the practice is Marxism, but again, do the workers own the means of production in that country?
Somebody does.
Yes, somebody does, but not the workers.
Yeah, the government owns. So, I mean, in like the purest form of Das Kapital Marxism, it is the government that comes in and abolishes private property, correct?
This is, of course, called, I think, the dictatorship of the proletariat, I think is what you're referring to.
Right. So
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. So you believe in this like abstract Marxism that you don't ever want to denounce, even though it's been tried 100 times.
But again, you say try, but we just said that it hasn't been tried because workers haven't owned the means of production.
Okay, well, why do you think that is? Because they use the swan song of Marxism, and Marxism will always result in an oligarchy or a dictatorship. Because you know why? It's impossible to, quote unquote, have the workers owns the means of production because we don't share well as human beings. That's why only someone that has, and with all possible due respect, an infant understanding of human nature can think communism can work, because we're self-interested at our core. And you have an economic system that is built not on private property, but on, quote unquote, shared goods. You're going to have a dictator on top of it that is going to exploit and terrorize. And so you started this conversation by asking me to denounce fascism, which is responsible for about 10 to 15 million deaths, said ideology. I'm pleading you one more time to denounce Marxism, that is responsible for minimum 100 to 120 million deaths.
Okay, academics have proven that wrong. That's not true. That's from the Black Book of Communism. That has
How many people did Mao kill?
Mao killed about 30 to 40 million.
How many people did Stalin kill?
Stalin killed about 20 to 30 million.
Okay, now we're at like 60 million, and I just named
Yeah.
like 2 countries, man. Okay? So like we're out of the gate, and we're at like 60 million, okay? So I can keep on going, right, if you want to talk famine, impoverishing, lowering of standard of living. But what I want to just reiterate as we close this out, there's this pathological fascination with fascism, 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 and a complete ignoring that Marxism, which is the other side of the authoritarian coin, has been far deadlier, far more costly, and is far more popular. And I'll ask this final question. What do you think has a greater chance of catching on in America, fascism or Marxism?
I would say fascism.
Okay. You really think so?
I really do believe that.
Okay. The only way I would possibly agree with that is the left-wing fascists that shut up people on campuses and allow, try to stop freedom of speech. But it's just, I'm perplexed by your position and your inability and your unwillingness to denounce Marxism. I don't know how many, maybe another 100 million people dead, maybe you'd change your mind.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What exactly do you mean by college is a scam?
Good question. I wrote a whole book about it. Largely the value proposition that you are being offered is not worth the time or the money that many of you are forking over. There's exceptions to that generally, but for example, the vast majority of students that graduate from four-year college, they'll end up getting a job, if they get a job at all, in a career or a job that doesn't require a college degree. So henceforth, asking the question, why do they go to college in the first place?
Okay, now what do you mean about jobs that don't require a college degree?
Like working at Starbucks as a barista.
Okay. So what exactly do you mean by the value proposition not being sufficient for the cost of going to college?
Yeah, so, I mean, going $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into debt, that's a significant thing. And hopefully if you're going to do that, you're going to be able to prove and have some value for that reason. So for example, there was a study that just came out in the last day, the 16 lowest paying job majors, and the vast majority of those are actually what kids study in college, right? Communications, liberal arts, things of that nature. And so the question is, why even go to college at all if you're just basically getting a credential that is worth less and less money in the marketplace? Now, if you study engineering, if you study finance, terrific, but the scam also is just beyond the financial value proposition. It's the ideological pollutants that are spread on college campuses and the, let's just say, some of the left-wing indoctrination that occurs here as well.
Okay, so moving aside from that red herring there, I myself am a communication major, And I am very well aware of the communication majors who just take a 4-year degree and go into jobs that either don't require a degree or...
Try to get as close to the mic as you can. Is that okay? Thank you. It's okay. Yeah.
But anyways, I'm aware of the communication majors who only get a bachelor's degree, and if they're lucky, they're only able to get research assistant jobs in communication, or not even get a job that requires a degree at all. But would not those who continue on to get masters and doctorates in communication, who get who get $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year research jobs, would that not counteract the total economic, socioeconomic value of those who just go into college and then end up Starbucks baristas?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, also master's degrees are expensive, right? PhDs are expensive, so you're looking at least at $150,000 to $200,000 in debt, minimum, if you're going to do that. And if that's the path you want to take, so be it. But there are 11 million job openings in the country right now that pay $80,000 or more that don't require a college degree. 11 million job openings. And I don't think we're always telling our young people, the next generation, that these jobs are available to you. It's an expectation that you go to 4-year college, and in fact, you're treated and almost considered to be dumb if you don't go to 4-year university. And I think that's a big mistake. And not to mention the vast majority, 41% of kids that enter college do not graduate. There's something deeply wrong with the system.
So from what you're telling me, though,
final point.
from what you're telling me, though, it sounds more like the problem lies not in college itself, but rather the individual paths that people choose who look at a situation, make the wrong decisions, don't stay in school as long as they need to in order to get the career that they want.
Or they drop out because they don't see the value. They drop out because they don't think it's worth their time. And again, half of this audience, after 10 years, if they get a job, they'll end up getting a job that didn't require them going to college in the first place. Half. That sounds like a scam. Why are they here in the first place? Why are they borrowing all this money and spending 4 years on a university just to go get a job that never would have required them to get the degree or the debt or the 4 years being spent on campus? Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Tilt it up, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm just curious about your stance on college as a scam, because I feel like, according to the Hamilton Institute, people who get bachelor degrees over a total lifetime earnings will earn over $1 million more than those who don't. And also, I feel like college is an important place for people to go learn valuable life lessons. And also, it's good to have a balanced society, because then you're going to get artists, you're also going to get architectures, you're going to get engineers, you're going to get all sorts of different people that we need in society. Because what's the point in living if we don't have writers or artists? So I just want to get your take on that.
The question is, do the best writers learn to write in college? Probably not. No. The best writers are gifted writing, and they learn to write by writing. And I would just argue that this kind of holistic view you get, for example, what are you studying? Can I ask?
Economics.
Okay, so what do you think of Thomas Sowell?
I actually really like him. I bought his book, Basic Economics.
Great.
He's one of the first economists I
Do
really
they teach it here?
Not yet, but also I've only been
Okay,
for
so now you're
1
proving
year.
my point. If you're studying economics and they're not teaching Thomas Sowell, you're not getting an education, you're getting an indoctrination.
Well,
And you're
no.
being scammed.
Okay.
Milton Friedman, do they teach Milton Friedman here?
No, but I'm aware of him.
Okay, Ludwig von Mises,
I'm aware of him, but no.
Murray
Well,
Rothbard, hold on.
No.
F.A. Hayek,
No.
Frederick Bastiat.
No.
You're not getting economics education, you're getting an indoctrination. You should know every single, it's not your fault, but what you're paying for or going into debt for is not a real economic education. Those are the people that theorized about free markets, which is a legitimate school of thinking, monetarism, private property rights, and the fact that I'm not criticizing you, I'm criticizing the institution that's failing you, that you don't know what these people believe and you're not being taught that rigorously, proves my point that college is a scam.
Yeah, but again, I've only been here a semester and a half. So.
But do you know who John Maynard Keynes is?
Heard of him. Actually,
Okay.
we did read about him a little bit.
Okay, so you read about John Maynard Keynes, but
In
you
class.
were Keynes.
Yeah, in class. I learned
Yeah,
about it
okay.
in class.
Right, so that's my point, is that they'll teach you Keynes, but they won't teach you one out of the 7 people that I mentioned of Bastiat, Hayek, von Mises, Rothbard, Sowell, or Friedman. And that proves my point, which is that it's all demand side, it's all one picture of an economic argument that is not the complete picture of what, now maybe later on you'll get a supply side, economics teacher here, But this idea that you go to college to kind of get your worldview liberated, yet you get your worldview altered, to be perfectly honest. Secondly, to your point of earnings over a period of time, it matters completely and solely on what you study.
Yeah.
If you study the liberal arts, even after 10 years, study came out yesterday, 16 lowest paid majors happen to be some of the highest majors that people actually go and study, which is liberal arts, sociology. God bless people that do that stuff, I suppose. But you're also filled with all of the woke rubbish that is infecting our society.
And there it is. The case comes to a close. What started as a discussion about speaking ability escalated into a heated battle over truth, ideology, and the future of education. The speaker framed college as a financial scam riddled with indoctrination, while students pushed back with stats about lifetime earnings, social balance, and intellectual growth. Whether you agree or disagree, one thing is clear: this wasn't just Q&A, it was a trial of ideas. So what's your verdict? Was the case made convincingly, or did both sides fall short? If you found this breakdown as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom showdowns.